Okay, as you can see, I've got a couple audio tracks in Reaper, and for this one, I want to talk about the mix window. This is basically your arrange window, and if you go up to View and go Mixer up here, this will show you your mix window. Now you can resize the mix window. If you go to the control bar right here, you'll notice that my mouse is turning into an up-down arrow, and if I click and hold this, I can drag my mix window larger or smaller. So that's one way you can keep the mix window in the dock. And if you want to get rid of it, all you have to do is go up to View, click on Mixer again, and it will go away. Now, if you notice in our mixer window, we have a couple things. So down here we have our master fader. And it's always a good idea. Notice you have a mono button right here. It's always a good idea to check your mixes in mono. A lot of times when we're mixing in stereo, we hear things and fine, and we go to mono and instruments tend to disappear. So you want to check that. We're not going to get into a lot of mixing in this class because we're just going to be designing sound effects, but it's always good to check it in mono because you just never know what people are going to be listening to your mixes on. So that's one thing you could do. The master fader you can drag up and down. This will affect the overall volume of your entire mix. And if you want to get it to go back to its default, just double click it and it'll pop right back up to its default, which is usually 00 dB. And I'm not going to get too much into decibels for this class, but that's how you can affect the overall volume of your mix. If you want to add an effect to your entire mix, we've talked about effects before. Here's your effects button right here. Click on that and you would add it the same way that you would add an effect that we added an effect before. So you're going to go up to Kakos and decide what effect you want to put on your entire mix. Just remember that this will be affecting your entire mix. So you might want to put a reverb wash or a delay wash over your entire mix. Totally up to you. You also have the same faders here. You have mute, solo, buttons right here. Trim, we'll talk more about that later. And envelopes we'll talk about later. And if you also click, you notice you have a little box right here in the right hand column with little faders on it. So if you click on this box, which Reaper apparently hasn't given it any name, you'll get another dialog box, and this will tell you what you want. This will allow you to decide what you want your master track to display. The other thing that's nice, if you go up to the top where it says master track, you can decide how you want it to show in mixer, right side of mixer, separate window, show in Docker. Okay. We haven't talked about the Docker, but the Docker appears down here. So you notice when I close this out in the Docker, my mixer will disappear. So I can get it back again by just going mixer. And the minute I do mixer, notice that the Docker is also appearing in the window as well. So, you know, that's basically what you can do with that. Checking my list here. If you want to add a plugin to an individual track, so up here we have input outputs, which we're not going to worry about right now, but if you want to add a plugin, all you have to do is click right here and it says track insert effect. So basically I'm inserting effects on in my mixer using track. So I can do that by clicking on it. And again, you can, same thing, let's say we wanted to add an EQ plugin onto this, we'll just go OK. And then you have a separate EQ window so you can affect the EQ equalization of the track. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in class, not a whole lot, but that's a whole other course unto itself. So if you wanted to, you can insert as many plugins as you want in here. Well, not as many, there's a limit. And then, you know, let's say you want to duplicate the plugin because you like it. You can just click, hold, and drag, put it in the next track, and it will be duplicated. Okay. If you press Control PC or Command Mac and click on the plugin, so I'm going to go Command Mac, you can bypass the plugin by just clicking up here and bypassing it. Also, if you want to remove the plugin, you can do the same thing. You just go click on the Remove button and it's gone. So again, that's Control PC and Command Mac. Anytime you click on these plugins using the Command or Control key, you'll get the dialog box to be able to do something with it. So that's important to remember. You might want to write that down somewhere. Another easier way to bypass it is you just shift click it, and all of a sudden it becomes sort of orangish in color. That's telling you that the plugin's been bypassed. It's no longer working. You shift click again, you'll reinstate the bypass when it turns into gray. Record monitor. This is an interesting one. So when I can record a track in this way, you'll see my voice. I've record enabled it down here. And if you have headphones on and you want to hear your mix while you're recording, like say I'm, singing a vocal over a track or something, and I want to hear the track while I'm singing, you're going to hit on this record monitor input right here. And if you click on this button right here, oops, wrong button. There, got it. Record monitoring. It's on, and I'm surprised I'm not hearing mine. You'll hear actually the mix going on along with while you're doing this. Okay. You have to be careful. Sometimes you get feedback when you do this. So, but this button right here, record monitoring, just allows you to hear the track play as you're recording. So the default is to have this off. So, and probably we're not going to be using that a whole lot because again, we're just going to be working on effects. But I just wanted to show you that. All right, so I talked about pretty much everything right now for the mix window. So just familiarize yourself with the mixer, because a lot of times it's easier to work within the mix window than it is in the arrange window. And you'll be working in both, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how to get that up. So experiment with the mixer window.